When I married Daniel 8 years ago, I thought I had found my forever. We met at a friend's dinner party. He was the kind of man who could make an entire room feel comfortable just by walking in. Charming, polite, and with a smile that could convince you he'd never hurt a fly. I fell for him quickly, and before long, we were sharing a little apartment, saving up for a house, and dreaming of the life we'd build together. The first few years were almost perfect. We took weekend trips, hosted game nights with friends, and shared the kind of inside jokes that only long-term couples understand. He made me believe in the happily ever after fairy tale. But things started changing last autumn. At first, it was subtle. He was on his phone more, scrolling late into the night. He'd step into the hallway to answer calls instead of picking up in front of me. Whenever I asked who it was, his answers were vague. Just work stuff, babe. You wouldn't be interested. The first real red flag came one Sunday afternoon. We were supposed to go out for lunch, but at the last minute, he said he had to drop by the office for an urgent meeting. The thing is, his office is closed on Sundays. I didn't say anything not then, but the seed of doubt had been planted. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing more inconsistencies. He'd claimed to be stuck in traffic, yet the GPS on his phone, which was still synced to my car's app, showed him parked in a residential area far from his route home. He also started dressing differently, sharper, more cologne than usual for supposedly long days at work. Then came that night. It was raining, and Daniel was in the shower after coming home late. His phone, face up on the nightstand, lit up with a notification. Normally, I wouldn't snoop, I trusted him. Or at least I used to. But something in my gut told me I needed to know. The message on the screen read, "Don't worry, she has no idea. Everything will be ours soon." My stomach dropped. The sender was saved simply as M. Hands shaking, I opened their chat. There were weeks' worth of messages, dinner plans, flirtatious jokes, and worse, financial talk. My husband and this woman weren't just involved. They were planning to take our joint savings, sell some of our property, and start fresh somewhere far away. I scrolled and scrolled, each word slicing deeper. There were even messages mocking me, calling me too trusting and the perfect cover. I had to set the phone down because I thought I might actually throw up. That night, I barely slept. I lay next to him, listening to his breathing, and wondered how many other times he'd come home from her bed to mine. The betrayal was so deep, it felt physical, like a weight pressing down on my chest. In the morning, I put on my best fake smile. Over breakfast, I asked how his day looked, kissed him goodbye, and watched him walk out the door. Having no idea, I now knew everything. That was the moment I decided I wasn't going to confront him yet. I was going to make him think I was still blind while quietly setting the stage for the kind of revenge he'd never see coming. The morning after I discovered the messages, I sat at the kitchen table with my coffee, staring at the steam curling upward, my mind racing. I could have confronted him right then. I could have screamed, cried, demanded an explanation. But I knew Daniel well enough to understand that if I showed my hand too early, he'd twist it back on me. No, I needed a plan. The first step was securing my finances. Over the next few days, I discreetly transferred my share of our savings into a private account. I visited my bank in person, so nothing would be traceable through our home computer. While Daniel thought I was at my yoga class, I was sitting across from my lawyer, explaining everything from the affair to the planned theft. She was calm, efficient, and a little bit ruthless. Exactly what I needed. At home, I became an actress. I laughed at his half-hearted jokes, watched TV with him in the evenings, and even let him kiss me goodnight without flinching. It was disgusting, pretending everything was fine, but the longer I kept up the act, the more comfortable he became. He thought he was winning. One evening, he came home with a bottle of wine and takeout from my favorite Thai place. "Daniel, figured I'd treat my girl tonight. Been working so hard lately." I smiled sweetly and poured the wine, wondering if he'd bought the exact same dinner for her the night before. Meanwhile, I was gathering evidence, printing out his messages with M, saving bank statements that showed suspicious withdrawals, and keeping a timeline of his lies. The more I had, the better my position would be when the time came to strike. 2 weeks later, the perfect opportunity arrived. Daniel announced he'd be going on a 3-day business trip to meet a client in another city. I already knew thanks to the tracking app on his car that he'd actually booked a hotel with her. This was it. The morning he left, I waited until his car was out of sight before springing into action. I changed the locks on our apartment. I called the bank to freeze our joint account, which was now nearly empty thanks to my earlier transfers. I also had my lawyer file the initial divorce paperwork, along with the restraining order request based on the evidence of his planned financial fraud. By the second day, I'd packed all his clothes and personal items into boxes, neatly labeled and stored at my sister's house. There would be nothing of his left in my space. On the third day, I got a text from him. "Daniel, miss you, babe. Can't wait to see you tonight." I didn't reply. That evening, just after dark, I heard his key in the lock, and the metallic click when it didn't turn. He tried again. Then he knocked. "Daniel, babe, what's going on? The lock's not working." I walked to the door, my heart pounding but my voice steady. "Me. It's not your lock anymore, Daniel." "Daniel, what? What are you talking about? Let me in." "Me. No, I know everything. About M. About the money. About your little plan to disappear together." There was a long pause. "Daniel, who told you?" "Me. You did. Every time you left your phone unlocked. Every smug lie you told. I have it all and the police have copies." His voice shifted from anger to panic. "Daniel, please, can we just talk? I can explain." "Me. You don't get to explain. You get to deal with the consequences." I slid an envelope under the door divorce papers, a restraining order, and a printed copy of his own text messages. He didn't say another word. I heard the slow creak of the hallway floorboards as he walked away. It's been 6 months now. The divorce is almost final, and the restraining order is in place. I've rebuilt my life, new apartment, new routines, even new friends. I still wake up some mornings and feel the ghost of that betrayal, but it doesn't control me anymore. Sometimes people think revenge means destroying someone else's life. But in my case, it meant protecting my own before he could. And honestly, that's the sweetest victory there is.